Hallo und willkommen bei WebDM Spielen der Schwarze Auge, otherwise known as hello and welcome to the Dark Eye WebDM Plays. That was terrible, I'm so sorry, but I'm very excited to come back for some more Dark Eye with these wonderful people with me here today. We have some shenanigans afoot. There are snake cults potentially. There are disappearing villages. There is a very handsome blacksmith that is waiting on a second date, and a cow named Bessie. So we'll do a little recap of what happened last time, just in case you didn't catch us, and we can catch you up. But our crew of heroes headed out to the small village that they had been directed to by the villager Gemma, and they found a cave with goblins. There was a big fight in which goblins were traumatized and murdered and made to see visions of their mother with a scrubbing brush. And stepping out from the cave was a large creature, a ogre, who had come here to lay the smackdown on these intruders, but however found the smackdown lying upon him, as I don't think he ever actually hit anyone and got the absolute ever-loving crap kicked out of him instead, and intimidated by one, two, who basically laid down the fucking law and convinced the ogre to see the error of his ways and protect the village that he had actually destroyed previously. Some villagers were rescued. Unfortunately, a lot had been killed in their initial raid, but among them was A, Bessie, the cow that everyone, the only real person that everyone was here to save, and B, a young woman named Fariha, who seemed to be from a foreign land, who had traveled over here. She had dark skin, she was wearing a scarf, and she was missing a sword, a very interesting, what looked to be a curved sword from the scabbard that hung from her belt. She's clearly someone of great interest, and after a little conversation with the group, she revealed that she was here hunting for ex-members or members of her order that she belonged to. And she revealed to them a intricate tattoo on her back that involved a snake, and very detailed and interesting. And she revealed a little bit of knowledge that she was trying to put an end to something that was happening within her order. She was a bit cagey about it. She didn't give you all a lot of details, but nonetheless, she enlisted your help in helping her do what she needed to do. You made it back to Havana, the town, the city, port city you had come from, to find that Gemma, the villager, had disappeared, and that Tariq had a very interesting letter waiting for him in his room, where this order was aware of him, and they were very interested in getting to know him further. And that is where we left it last time. So, as we begin, you are all gathered around this letter with Tariq. I will give the floor to you.
So I know Gorion can definitely read it. What language is it in?
It was in
Tulamidian.
I think, yeah, it was Tulamidian.
Yeah, so Gorion can definitely read it, and he can see my full name and titles, right? And then I remember asking Fariha, I'm like, how did they know? And she said, did you give them your name ever? And I'm like, of course, I introduced myself to the snake guy when he showed up. Why would I not? Right? Exactly. Two has the right idea. You always introduce yourself. And so I think we ended there. I'm like, oh, well, now they know us.
They might, yeah.
Okay, does this make our job more difficult or less difficult?
I want to back up a bit. They know you.
Yeah, they don't know us. Yeah.
Yeah, true. Now they know one of us. Does this make our job more difficult or less difficult?
What can they do with your name?
I mean, they found that I was living here. I mean, that's not that. I mean, that's not hard to find. There are not that many black mages here, I'm guessing. Yeah. Is there a local guild, Susie?
There's not.
Yeah, so like, oh, there's a black mage. He's in that inn. Like, that's easy if you know his name.
Yeah. I mean, let's be honest. It's not like Tariq's the most clandestine character. the best of times anyway.
But I smell the best.
So like, I mean, them
That is
funding
true.
is not necessarily that big a deal.
Okay, so should we just go around business as usual? Because now they know I live here. Is that an issue? Do we need to find new lodgings? I'm sure I can convince some people to give us lodgings. I'm very convincing. I'm really charming.
I kind of would. Yeah. New lodgings at least, because you don't want them to come up on you while you're sleeping or
That's
mess with
true.
your stuff or I don't know.
Ortlieb's perspective is that his profession requires him to be easily found. And so for me, it's kind of neither here nor there. If snake demon militias would like to try to murder me in my sleep, they can certainly try.
We could, we can also think I move and you folks don't. I can ask the perfumier.
But then we're splitting the party.
Room. I can move with Garayan, for example, like the
And
two.
we'll smell so
that
bad
we-
without you.
That is actually very accurate.
Very true.
And if you move and they do try something, you've only got half the party there to save you.
Okay, yeah, good point. Okay, good point. Okay, I will turn to Garayan and two, who are much better dealing with this kind of thing. I'm like, they're more worldly, right? I'm really young, so I'm like, I don't know.
You got to be able to sleep. If they know where you're at, that's going to be tough. And we're not ready to face them yet.
The question two would have is do we know that there's anything else going on in this town? Like where we
Well,
go-
that's what the date tonight is gonna find out, right? I'm gonna find out from the blacksmith. I'm gonna make him squeal. So
I mean, like we need to find crazy snake cult, right? And wherever that quest takes us determines where we're going to have to stay, frankly. And also, like leads wise, what leads have we got? We can try and find this pale person with the sword, but where do we start with that? Or that could be going back to the village and trying to track anyone else.
Yeah. So village and asking around town are two current plan.
But trying to find what's her name? The
the Gamma.
Yeah. If we can find her, because like last time it was she could have been a plant. Maybe they've kidnapped her. Maybe they tracked her to us. We don't. Yeah.
I mean, maybe they broke through the fortress of her mind and took control of her senses, and that's not uncommon.
Possibly. But if that was the case, then why was she so stuck on getting this damn cow? No offense, Bessie. No offense, Bessie.
It's true.
Yeah, that's right.
I hope the cow hasn't come into my room. That would make the room so bad.
Oh, it's true. There's not a cow in the inn. He's just saying it generally in case she has really good hearing.
Okay, I think I have an idea. What if Ortlieb, that musician you sang with yesterday, or whatever, 1 week ago that it was technically, was really grateful to you and wanted to perform with you? What if we say, can we stay with him for a bit? Because he probably lives out of like a house, not like a place where you can rent, and that might be harder to track.
Maybe. I think that was the first time I ever met that guy, so he could sleep in an alley for all I know.
Okay,
I have no idea.
So well with him, I thought you'd met
We
him.
did. That's true. Typically, buskers don't have good houses, but maybe.
Okay, what if we do this?
It's pretty good.
I have a date tonight, right? I'm not going to skip that. Why don't, while I go on the date and, get some info, needle him a bit for information, you guys, you folks can look for lodgings and or clues.
I'm curious, Susie, if you have any figures on how much some sort of house type thing costs, because the thing about Ortlieb that I haven't quite disclosed is that he's fucking stacked.
Okay, let's have a look. Let's see if we've got like accommodations in here.
It's interesting because I chose two to have no money.
And
Now two hanging out with Ortlieb makes a lot more sense.
Yes, I am 10 rich. I got all the ranks in rich.
Wish I was
Right.
10 rich.
Yes.
I have a medium amount of money, but so you took the perk rich, like that's a specific perk.
I am 10 out of
only
10. You cannot be any richer than me.
It's only a point per rank.
What?
It was only a point per rank.
It's not that much, but
No.
yeah, no, I have north of 3,000 monies.
Ooh. Okay, I'm
Yeah.
trying to flick through here. I'm not finding anything just yet. But
Alright.
I would say like it depends, right? What you after. If you're after like a little terraced house, it's like
Yeah.
nothing. That's like pennies,
Yeah.
probably. If you're after a nice townhouse, now we're starting to talk about money.
Are we talking
I
about
mean-
purchasing or renting?
I mean, like we could rent it if we want, but really
throwing
that's
your
sort
money
of
away.
you're just throwing your money away. May as well. Like this is a buyer's market here. I've heard.
Oh, Olive's the worst. Are you gonna rent it when you're not in town?
Of course I am.
You are. You can use it as storage for your supplies.
Yeah, it's here are my hard requirements. It needs to have good drainage. Like I don't want anything that's going to be like on a floodplain.
Mhm,
I want it to have a really nice space for Ferd the mule.
mhm.
And it needs to have a good amount of storage because I have inventory to store.
Could it have a guest room that's somewhat separate from the other room, such that noises from that guest room will not disturb the other residents?
Sure, there can be like a separate sex room.
Like a little granny cottage out back.
Yeah, like a guest
Ooh,
house.
Yes.
Yes.
Very good.
Yes.
But nothing like ostentatious. Ortlieb doesn't care if there's like a nice view or anything.
Here's a
Okay.
question, because
Yes.
how does the cost of a house, do we think, stack up against a sailing boat? Because a sailing boat is $6.5 grand.
Oh, a
Oh, really?
boat.
Yeah.
Well, how much Jim Davis, military historian, how much were fancy ships
I mean,
back in the day?
they're probably considerably more expensive than a townhouse.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, that's my general. That's the answer I would guess on a multiple choice exam.
Okay. Okay.
All the people I've ever known who've owned boats can comfortably afford a townhouse.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
yeah. I mean, if we're talking a modest property versus a giant sailing ship that has.
got it.
I mean, and it can be like out of town a little bit, like
So
suburban.
what I'm
In the
thinking
burbs.
is that this is towards the edge of town. This is like an old shepherd's like cottage that had a little barn in the back, which has been converted.
Nice.
So it's got
Nice.
plenty of room for Ferd. It's got plenty of rooms. It's nice. It's cozy. It's not too over the top. It's got a nice, cute little thatch roof.
Does it have acreage?
It's some acreage.
I can
Nice.
rent out a parcel farm. It's gonna be great.
Nice. And the shed, I would love to claim the shed is my bedroom, but I'm open to that not being the case.
That's fine. We can negotiate rent off screen.
Yeah, so why don't you handle that stuff while I go on my date later tonight?
Nice. I will. This
You
is
renovate
this
the
is-
bathroom. This is a potential Airbnb opportunity.
Yeah.
True. No, I've thought about it. I'm gonna go way overboard with this. I've never like picked out a face claim for a character before, but you fucking bet next time I'm gonna have a whole house like laid out.
I'm in love with this.
It's the deepest of fantasies for me.
Owning property.
Owning
Uh,
property.
being a functional human being.
Yeah. Ortlieb doesn't have student loans. We're all good.
Yeah.
Oh.
He's stacked.
Oh, that's too real. Okay, so Ortlieb's gonna join the property market of Havana. Tariq is having a hot date tonight. Garayan and 2.
Yeah, Gorion is a little sad that Ortlieb has forgotten that they were supposed to hit the streets together, and he's.
Oh, we can still do that.
I didn't
I
know how
don't-
long it takes to buy a house. I don't really
It's-
have any conception of.
It's me either. It's my impression is anywhere between 10 minutes and like 8 months. I have no idea
You know,
how that works.
yeah, I figured you had people for it. But yeah, Gorion was wanting to go find some sort of criminal under element, some sort of, people who live below the radar, because if there's a bunch of weird cultists sneaking about, the likelihood that they have connections to shadier sorts is pretty high, at least Gorion thinks. So we wanted to
Cool,
just
cool,
go talk to people, see if they've seen anything. He just has no streetwise, so he'd probably be very blunt about it.
Excellent.
I can
cannot
help
wait.
a bit if you
It's okay.
want.
I'll use enough sharp stuff tonight for the both of us. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Okay. What is 2 going to get up to, Liam?
2 is going to assume that there's a possibility that the cult may have a go at Tariq, and unbeknownst to Tariq, 2 is going to use him as bait, and it's going to linger outside his encounter.
Oh, totally.
See,
Yeah.
As security, basically.
And since you said I'm going elsewhere, I'll just believe you. I'm like, yeah, sure. Why would I not believe you?
I'm going with Ortlieb. I'm going with Ortlieb and Garayan. We're off to go do the thing. You have
Awesome.
fun, buddy.
Cool.
You have fun. Then I'll catch you 2 later. Hold on, I'm off. And then I'm gonna linger around there, mainly because I don't know what else 2 would do in this situation. He's sort of just he's in the city. It's a bit outside his comfort zone, so he's just gonna linger and figure he's useful being security, as it were.
I have my own bouncer. When I go have sex, I have my own bouncer.
But you don't know it because I gotta keep.
I know, but that's
small,
amazing.
All right. So I guess that's all he'll do. He'll just go linger, and it's covertly too. He's not being obvious about it. He'll be hiding, and that way, if something does happen, it should be a surprise for everybody when 2 turns up.
Oh God, I can just imagine it. Tariq being like, "Did the Earth just move for you?" And it's just no, it's just 2 outside. All right, so we will join Ortlieb and Garayan as you're making your way through the streets of Havana, and it's starting to get darker now a little bit. Like the day is coming on; it's getting to late afternoon, but the town is still bustling. It's still very busy. Ortlieb, you are looking for the local real estate person. You can tell how much I know about buying a house, just to see what you can do to purchase property in this place. Garayan, you've got an eye on the crowd for anyone who might be a little bit shifty.
Yeah, certainly.
As you're walking through, you come through like a town square. There's a little fountain in the middle, like little statues on it, like kids peeing or whatever it is they have on statues on fountains. And you can see a bunch of children running around, and they seem to be playing a game. Where some are woofing as if they're dogs and some are meowing as if they're cats, and they're chasing each other around this fountain trying to catch each other. And you can see one tiny kid just stumbles and isn't running as far, and he's laughing. And you can just see an older kid just picks him up and throws him into the fountain as they're playing this game. But as they're sort of running around, they don't seem to care about anyone who's around them. And one of the children just collides into your legs, Garayan, just smashes straight into you.
Is he all right? Are they all right?
The kid stumbles back, and they're all scruffy. They look like a Victorian era orphan. They've got the soot on their cheeks because they've clearly grown up a chimney sweep. They say, I'm sorry, sir. Didn't mean I'd bump into you. You're all right there?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Oh, sorry, and then runs off, and you hear him go woof 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 as he's chasing other children.
Garayan's gonna check his money bag, and is it still there?
It is gone.
All right, going after this kid.
Okay, and this kid, you can see ahead of you. This kid has run off to play with the children, but he's clearly looking at you fuck, he's been rumbled, and he just starts taking off, and he's pushing people out of the way and trying to do Victorian era children parkour, but he's not great at it. So let's see what we got here.
All right,
chase this child. It's a sentence I never thought I would say, but here we go.
That's all right. Listen, they're difficult to chase, but once you get your hands on them.
Child.
Okay, so
I have a child, viewers and listeners. It's all right. I know.
I chased him today.
I know how to chase children.
You took
Okay,
a bathrobe away from him.
Let's go with some body control as you are
So
trying to duck and weave and try and get where this kid can.
That's agility, constitution.
Sure
And I
is.
have 7 points in that. And I'm going to use them because that's expensive. All right. So it's 3D 20. Boom. Wow. I don't have to spend any of my points, which makes that a quality level 3 for his body control.
Okay, so you've got good eyes on this kid. You can see where he's going. He's like jumping through market stalls. He's like swinging on street poles to go around corners. You are just like, you are practiced at this. You can move and you're keeping pace with him. And you can see him over his shoulder be like, I'm sorry, sir. I'm just really hungry and I haven't eaten in 3 days. As he's sprinting, but he is still ahead of you a little bit. I'm going to roll
back
for
and I'll buy you a bun.
Let's see how he does. Oof. Okay, so as he is turning and shouting at you over his shoulder, he's not looking where he's going and he collides with a horse. This kid just runs straight into the back of a horse and he stops dead before he like bounces and he like tumbles at your feet and he looks up at you.
I mean, I'm going to grab him, get my money back.
He's like, yeah, I'm sorry, sir.
Does he look like malnourished?
He looks scrawny, not necessarily malnourished.
Okay. All right. Really got to find a better way to do that if you're going to pick somebody's pocket. That's really the bump in. Everybody knows that one.
Well,
He's going to give him like 2 just like pennies, to get something to eat. Because I think Gorion, like this kid reminds Gorion of some of his younger siblings, something like that. He has a soft spot. But what he's curious about is like, does it seem like the kids were working just like for someone else? Like if there's a shadowy figure in an alleyway somewhere, or if they're just for themselves. And so while he's got him, he just kind of wants to have one eye on the kid who seems intimidated enough, but then another eye on the crowd to see if anybody's watching.
All right, let's have a perception for you then, as you are scanning and looking around.
Yeah, all right. That's a bit more of a challenge because I think part of that relies on my sagacity, which is not that good. That's all right. Oh, it just got my that 9 is for my sagacity. The other 2 are well below my, I believe, intuition. No, yeah, intuition is the other for perception. So yeah, I got that with. Jeez, how many? Where's my character sheet? That is going to be 2 quality levels.
2 quality levels. Okay, so you got this kid. You got him like by the scruff of his neck. His little sackcloth shirt is holding him up. His arms are like scarecrowed a little bit, and you can see you don't see it by looking around yourself, but the kid's eyes keep darting to like an alleyway that's close by, and there's a little like twitch to his eyebrow that looks like he's kind of like signaling for help. As he's just kind of trying to, when you're not looking, he's trying to be like,
yeah,
do the face.
Somebody coming to help you?
Oh well, I'm trying to get him to help me, but they're not coming.
Yeah. More kids, or you got somebody looking after you?
Bigger kids. Yeah.
I'm not sure that this is a good idea, kid. Why don't you just go get something to eat? Don't cause any more trouble. Or Gorion's like, is anybody coming after him? Like if he stands up and kind of like looks around a bit, got one hand on the kid. Is there any sort of movement, or is whoever this kid's expecting is not showing up?
So it's just Sadia, and it's clear now that this kid is just telling you everything. Someone steps out of the shadows, and it's an older teenager. must be like 17, 18. It's a girl, and she's got very close cropped hair. She looks really rough, like she's got like a vest on, like arms are out, you know. She's clearly doing that where they cross their arms to make their muscles look bigger deal. But she's quite big and broad, and she kind of very casually strolls out of the alleyway. She says, "What are you doing to my little brother?"
I'm getting my money back from him and making sure he has some lunch. What are you doing?
Looking out for my little brother. You gonna put him down?
Go around and put him down.
And the kid scampers over to her and she clips him up the back of the ear and she says, "You little shit, you got fucking caught, idiot." Tucks him behind her. "We're gonna have a problem here today, sir."
There's no problem. In fact, this could even be an opportunity for us.
Oh yeah?
And does she look like hungry as well? Like they look like they live rough on the streets and
No, she actually looks like she's pretty well fed. And although her clothing is a little bit rough, you can tell at one point it was pretty nice, and she has just amended it.
Sure. So he lets the kid go. I'm looking for someone who's in the know. Might see people coming and going. Maybe they're new to town. I'd be willing to pay someone very handsomely for information like that.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Say, for example, I knew someone that was in the know. Took you to him. Be a little extra in it for me?
Certainly. I'd have to be a real jerk not to reward skill and the like from someone who can be discreet. You know.
Well, discretion is my middle name. You're not with any of the law, are you?
No. I'm new in town myself, looking for friends.
Right, because you know that you legally have to tell me if you are, right?
I did not know that was the law of this land, but I'm not.
What?
Not part of any constabulary or anything like that. Certainly not.
Yeah, and you can tell this is a kid who's trying so hard to appear aloof and tough, but you're high-key scaring the shit out of her because you're clearly like a dude who knows what he's doing, right? Because imagine you're probably carrying your weapon, even though it's sheathed. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's got his sword on his hip and at least one dagger visible.
She's got like a dinky dagger like tucked into her belt, and like that's her biggest comfort right now. But she sort of eyes you up and down and does that little cocky walk around you with her arms crossed, looks you up and down. Yeah, all right. Sundown. Yeah, you come meet me back by this fountain.
I'll be there.
Watch out for your little friend over there. The kid's 11.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, he's got some. Well, you guys can find that if you want, but watch yourself, because not everybody's going to be as forgiving as I am.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Well, not everyone's as shit at their jobs as some of them are. She says over her shoulder to the kid, and the kid's like. But she walks over and she like takes the shoulder, the shoulder of the kid, and sort of marches him off back into the alleyway. And you are left alone in this street.
Okay.
The horse that this kid hit just kind of wandered off.
That horse, man.
Very.
I wonder if he did even feel the kid.
Probably not. No, it was a big workhorse, like a big shire. It's taller than
everybody
you are.
knows the bump trick. From here to Arania, everybody knows the bump trick. Come on, kid. You got to get with it. Got to bring some new stuff.
What can I say? Kids in Havana. Kids today.
Kids
okay.
Today.
Otley, while this has been happening,
Yes.
you have found yourself a real estate agent.
Oh, great.
There's a beautiful little shop with a little sign with hand-drawn sketches of houses and properties to purchase in the window.
Okay.
With listings. And probably not gonna roleplay this because I don't know how fucking buying houses works, but you are able to purchase a small property.
Amazing.
The one we
I'm
had
very
previously discussed
All right.
with Tariq's little sex shack in the garden.
Yeah. Great. Wonderful. I will do that. I'm going to inquire with this real estate agent if they perhaps might help hook me up with if there are any like medium term tenants who ever need anything, like just to get the ball rolling with that, and whether there's any permits that I need to do.
They get you sorted. They've got
Nice.
the paperwork, so and there's like a steward here who's writing down everything they're going to arrange for the permits for renting. They tell you that Havana has a very booming rental market, as it being a port town. You know, people want to rent houses before they travel and when they come back.
Yes.
So, you know, it's going to be an excellent money maker for you.
The last I'm going to mention, just as a way of trying to get some relevant information, just like making sure that like inquiring about just sort of like the areas of town. I'm not quite very familiar yet with everything, but I've heard some things about snake cults.
And your face, Emma, was the best.
Thank you.
So good. The person you're speaking to, they kind of pause for a second and say, do you mean the Church of Jacinda?
Is that what I mean? Don't think so.
I don't think so. Yeah.
Well, you know, some people refer to religions as cults. It's a thing that has been happening for millennia at this point.
Of course.
And the symbol of Jacinda is a snake.
He's going to just like, I saw this symbol. Somebody like I saw it on the side of it's like graffiti or something. He's gonna like do the snake symbol that we found on the letter, right? Just like, are you familiar with this?
It looks very similar. There's a few things different. The way the snake is oriented is a little bit different, but it's very similar. There's a temple in the temple district. You should probably go there, maybe.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Cult? Really?
Cult. I mean, it's, you know, this is not, you know, it's the word I thought would make the most sense.
Of course.
I mean,
yes, I mean the lovely.
I'm not looking to join one or anything. Like, just to be clear.
Oh, no, I mean,
Like,
I never presume. You know, I don't.
I'm good.
Judge people on the deities they keep. That's.
I'm all set there. Not looking for anything. I'm just looking for a house. That's all. But you know, I didn't mean to judge or anything.
I love how this suddenly became, I'm gonna buy a house, and now I'm just in this conversation being defensive about the small religion I may or may not practice. Like, I promise I'm not part of this demon cult.
No offense. No offense.
No offense if you are.
If you are, it's fine.
I'm not.
No, I'm good.
Not for me.
No, I need a home, not a spiritual home. Thank you.
And this person points you towards the sort of general sort of temple district of Havana.
Okay.
It's called the Temple District. There are a few like bigger buildings, but it's more like a religious epicenter where all sorts of faiths gather.
Great. Well, in the meantime, I'm going to go over there. I'm going to meet up with whoever's closest to me at this point. It might be Tarek's on a date. There's two and Gorian's
nearby.
I'll let you know what's going on. I'm also going to try to hire some movers to help me in this time, just so like we get there and everything's there.
Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah,
this can all happen in one day.
The steward hooks you up with a movable service.
Nice. I will.
They're called Wee Hall.
We haul.
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
Keep an eye out for any handsome built mover, muscular types. Just saying.
We will.
As you do.
Uh-huh.
Excellent. So all your possessions, I assume you warned them about the explosives in Tariq's room.
Oh, I was
So
just
remember, none of it was actually explosive.
It was.
Oh.
Yeah, I just told Gemma that because I know people are afraid of the guild, right? So I'm like, because I didn't want to touch my scents, you know, because I'm like, oh, she's really smelly. She might want to steal my perfume. So instead I'll tell her, because I actually didn't take any alchemy. If I had, I would have said that.
Oh, all right. Okay.
So, yeah.
Fair enough. Okay. So, Ortlieb has arranged for that. Gorian, you're waiting. Is there anything you want to do until sundown while you're waiting? Or you just...
Gorian's just going to post himself up somewhere and get a feel for the city, who all's here. Unless like Ortlieb has a specific thing he needs assistance with, Gorian's just going to hang out in the city somewhere.
I'm going to tell Gorion about this church.
Oh, what's it called
Yes.
again?
Church of Hacinda?
Yeah.
Is that what you
Hacinda?
said?
I hope I pronounced that right. It's spelled Hesinde.
Yeah.
That's right.
Seems right to me. Okay. Are you gonna go visit?
Yes. Do you want to come with me? Does two want to come?
Just gonna sit around otherwise. Do you have all your money?
Yes, always.
You sure?
What?
Are you sure?
Did I have my money?
Yeah.
I'll check.
Okay. I'm just asking.
Yeah. I mean, do you?
Yes, I do now.
Oh. Did somebody? I have to close the chat.
Yeah.
Did somebody try to take your
It
money?
was a very what do you call it? Amateur attempt.
Oh, a child.
Yes, child.
I see.
But I think that they might have had you for a mark as well. Just asking. You got the townhouse too? You got the townhouse too?
Yes, it is more than a townhouse. It is a chalet on the outskirts of town with a separate guest house and acreage and a horse barn and an actual barn and a greenhouse.
Damn.
And some fruit trees.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
Olive, because you can use olive oil, which I can then use in my sex room.
It's got a
Okay,
vineyard.
it's there. Yep.
Mhm.
Olives.
Olive Grove.
Yep.
I'm
all
really
that.
impressed, Ortlieb. That's a lot. That's a good price. I'm sure you got it.
I did.
Anyway, I don't want to pry. Let's
Yes.
go check out this church.
Okay.
Okay. Meanwhile, cutting across town. Tariq, you have headed to where you know your handsome young blacksmith to be, which is unsurprisingly the smithy where he works.
Yeah. Question, just random question. So I walk around with my robes and my staff, right? Do I often have issues with pickpockets or street urchins trying to steal my money?
You've had the absolute inverse. It is like Moses and the freaking Red Sea wherever you walk. People just go, whoa. And they want to be nowhere near you as you walk down the streets. You are probably the safest person in all of Havana right now because nobody wants to touch you.
And unbeknownst to me, two is also shadowing me. So I'm doubly safe. Like if someone tries to harm me, two will be like,
There's a couple of times where someone's giving you like the little double take as if they're going to try it. And then they look over your shoulder, their eyes widen a little bit, and they just whoop.
Yeah, I just grin at them like, hi. Awesome. Okay, so heading towards the smithy.
We are in full Diet Coke advert territory as you walk in. He has got the little apron, but the arms are out. He's covered in that just nice sheen of sweat and soot from the fire. He's got like a little dark fringe that's like flops down in front of his eyes, and he just pulls it back as you come in.
Yes. What's his name?
I don't know, what is his name?
What kind of culture are we in the city again? Or it's very metropolitan, right?
It's very metropolitan, so it could be anyone. So I will let you.
Why don't we give him? Is German a suitable language to give him like a German sort of name?
Let's do it.
Yeah. Why don't we name him Wolfgang or Wolfgang?
Okay.
And when we're in flagrante delicto, I sometimes call him Wolfie.
And he loves it.
Ooh, puppy play. Anyway.
Oh boy, just keep giving you ammunition. All right, so he does that thing where he definitely sees you come in, but pretends that he doesn't for a second, just so you can like flex a little bit more, and then very casually be like, "Oh, hey, Tariq."
and I give like a really open, like genuine, like grin because I'm happy to see him, right? We've had 1 week of like slogging through the marsh. I had to use up a whole bottle of perfume. And I'm like, hey, I was wondering what you're doing tonight because a good answer would be me.
And he like visibly blushes a little bit and he says, well, I mean, with enough like that, how can I refuse?
I have decided Tariq is a dominant bottom. Just decided that.
Okay, good to know.
Cool.
And he's like, are you busy now?
And I'm like, no, I came here to see you, so I have all evening.
And he calls over his shoulder to someone else here, and he's like, right, I'm taking the afternoon. Don't bother me. I'm going to be away. Throws off his apron.
Is he like one of the high-ranking blacksmiths in this
He
place?
is one of the senior apprentices. This is
Ooh.
quite a big smithy. There is
Okay, cool.
obviously the master who is asleep in the corner, and there's a bunch of like under apprentices. They're much younger, you can tell.
Okay, perfect.
And he
So
just
the under apprentices could be like what, 13? That
yeah,
kind of
like
okay.
anything from like 10 to like 13, 14.
Okay.
You know?
And I'm saying he might not, because I'm pretty young. I'm like 19, right? He might be like 25. He's probably a little bit older than me.
He's a little bit older, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So I'm like, awesome. And so where do we tend to hook up? In the smithy somewhere, or like?
He grins and he's like, I know a place. And he takes you a little bit out of town to a quieter sort of more residential area.
Okay, cool.
And he comes up to a small house, which is appears to be his, or at least where he is renting or whatever, where he stays. It's very simple. It's like a 2-room deal.
On the way there, if it's a distance, I actually want to just prime by like chatting, by like telling him like, oh, so for a week I was doing this cool thing, and maybe not give him all the deets, like names and things, but like, oh, there was a burning town, we saved these people, we found a cow. I talk about the cow a lot because Tariq literally likes the cow a lot, right? So he does enthuse about it for a bit. Just to like prime so that later when I ask him questions, it won't be like suddenly out of nowhere, right?
And he's like, yeah, that sounds great. And he's clearly not even like focused on what you're saying, because he's just so excited about what about to happen. But he's being very polite. He's being attentive.
Yeah.
While they're having this conversation and walking, too, if I can get you to roll me a stealth just to see how well you are tailing them.
Ooh.
Absolutely. Stealth is courage, intuition, and agility. Oh, yeah, this is I'm good at this. Maybe not that good. I've got skill rating 10, so by the time I deduct everything, 2 success levels.
2 success. Okay, so are you going to be actively looking to see if anyone's tailing you, Tariq, or are you just solely focused on?
I'm gonna say because my my negative trait is curious and excitable kind of thing. So I think I'm gonna say that comes into play here. I'm just focusing on him. I'm telling him the story. I'm admiring his like physique. Yeah, I'm totally. And I was like, I'm on a date, right? And so And since you said people don't tend to bother me in urban environments, I'm a lot less guarded in urban environments than I am in like wilderness environment, right? So
okay, I mean, I'll give you the chance if you want to roll a perception check. There would be a penalty on it.
Sure.
I'm gonna make it a very difficult check, so that would be a -3 penalty.
Okay, so skills. Yeah, I want to do it on roll 20, so it'll take all my things into account. What kind of skill is it? I forget. Is it a physical?
It is a
yes. It is a physical.
Physical
okay.
Skill.
And I'm rolling the R or the FS. I forget. I did this before. I think it's just R, right?
Yeah, I think.
Yeah. Perfect. And I got a. Oh, it's all in German. Oh no! I'm just gonna roll the d20. I'm just gonna roll the d20, 3 d20s.
Yeah, that's why I stopped using the character sheet.
Like,
Wait a minute.
Oops. Okay, 14, 10, 5. So 5 is definitely good, even with a thing. But so perception. Sorry.
Just remember, you have that penalty too. Which,
yes. So 14, that'll be a fail because it'll add a 3. 10 would be a fail, would add a 3. 5 would be a success. So that is a fail, and I only have a couple of points in perception.
Okay.
So that's a complete fail.
Okay, I mean, Wolfgang's is very handsome today. He's got that sweet glow from the soot and sweat and everything. It's really hard. The way the sun's hitting him, it's so hard for you to tear your eyes away from him. He fixes you with those sweet baby blues, and there's nothing else.
Can I say that initially, like he's hard, but what initially attracted me when I was at this blacksmith, like getting some work done or whatever, is he actually wears a scent. Which not all blacksmiths do, right? So maybe he wears a what do you have one of Jim or Emma? What kind of scent does he wear that was like enticing to Tarek?
God, jeez, this is the thing I'm worst at.
And yet you have such a sensitive sense of smell.
I really do, don't I? I really have a sensitive sense of smell. I don't know. I want to say sandalwood, but that might be way. Okay.
Yeah, it's imported. Oh, okay. It's imported from our homeland.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Because we have the Arabia Indian sort of homeland, right? So I smelled the smell that reminded me of Tulmadia is the language. The country is called Mahanadistan, right? So it reminds me of that. So like talking to him and smelling his like sandalwood cologne, I guess I'm like very entranced.
And you don't know this, but he 100% picked up this scent because he thought it would make him like sound and smell exotic and interesting, and it totally worked. And he told all his friends to buy it.
Ooh, maybe he bought it from the same whale shop.
100%. He 100% bought it from the same shop that you went to and that you frequent.
Yes.
Okay, so he brings you to this very simple sort of abode. Nothing too fancy. It's almost like what's the word for it? Where it's like wood and then shit and mud to make the walls.
Yep.
But it's pleasant. There's like 2 rooms at least. There's a little separate sleeping room. And he's like trying to make it comfortable. He's got some cushions set out. He's like trying to play the host. He's offering you a drink and some food and
right,
stuff
because
like
last
that.
time we hooked up in the inn, right, at
Yes,
my place. So this is like new for me. Okay, cool.
Yeah, but he's like, now he's brought you back to his place is a little bit awkward. He doesn't quite know what to do because this isn't like a hookup in a hotel room.
Right,
Like, this is
like a
I brought him
date.
to my house, right? This is a date.
So I'm gonna say, I mean, I imagine that Tarek is relatively experienced, right? So I think Tarek is gonna try and be like, he senses he's being awkward, and Tarek is very blunt, right? He's very straightforward. So, well, not blunt in a rude way, but he like, speaks his mind. So he's gonna be like, hey, it's okay, don't be uncomfortable, like it's totally fine. You have a lovely home. It's nicer than when I was a farmer, and I try and like joke about that, because I was born in a farm, but I went to the school afterwards, right? So I'm trying to ease him, like make him feel more comfy.
Yeah, and he relaxes after a little while, and he's like, what do you want to talk about?
Well, let's have sex first.
He blushes bright red, but he seems very enthusiastic. And we're gonna pan artfully to the fireplace as we cut to outside. Who
Can I just interject quickly?
Yes.
We've all seen Forrest Gump, right? You know the scene on the swing? That's all I'm gonna say.
That's funny. Yeah, you do hear a lot of noises because
no doubt.
I did promise
No doubt.
I was going to use my sharps and stuff, right? So
I've got very good perception. I hear a lot of fucking noises.
There's a lot of like pained noises. I had that once happen to his undergrad. Someone was like, "Was there hitting noises lasted from you?" I'm like, "That is accurate." But yes.
Sorry, keep going, Susie.
So, as you are outside, desperately trying to pay attention, but also not, you'd roll me another perception as you are keeping an eye out for anyone who may be here to harm Tariq in a way that he is not consenting of.
Ooh, okay. Yeah, that's actually, I smashed it. That's that is four success levels. I got
Holy
10
crap.
points left. Yeah, I smashed it.
Okay, so you can see someone approaching this dwelling and they're just walking up. They're not being stealthy. They're not attempting to conceal themselves or disguise themselves anyway. They're just walking straight towards this door.
What do they look like?
This looks like a male figure. They're quite tall, quite broad. They have dark hair. They're dressed in quite simple clothing.
Okay. They appear to be armed or anything like that?
They have across their shoulder, they have what appears to be a woodsman's axe.
Okay. See, here's the thing. I'm 100% down to intervene if it's the cult. If it's a jealous husband, that's Tariq's deal. He's going to deal with it. All right. So this is where I'm sort of, I guess, 2 is observing. He is holding position. He is waiting until the pain doesn't sound quite so consensual, I guess.
I love this.
Okay, so Tariq, you and Wolfgang are having a wonderful time.
Yeah.
And amidst your enjoyment, you suddenly feel a cold breeze. And you look up, and you can see this tall, broad, shadowed figure in the doorway with what appears to be an axe on their shoulder. And they are stood watching for a minute.
So Tariq is tied up to a chair. No, not Tariq. Wolfgang, Wolfie, is tied up to a chair right now. So I'm a little surprised and shocked, and I'm like not wearing any clothing. But the staff is nearby because it is a magical staff, right? I can like summon it or something. So I'm like, oh, and I turn to Wolfgang. So I'm like, were you expecting company? But I don't say that. I'm just like a little bit like, oh, I'm going to say Tariq is actually a little shocked, or out of sorts because he was in, Dom headspace. And then this is like throwing out everything of sorts. So he's a bit like,
So Wolfgang desperately is trying to cover his body as this figure's in the doorway.
Oh yeah, he's tied up. He cannot.
And he's like scrambling, and the figure in the doorway drops the axe and just goes, "Oh, for fuck's sake, Wolfgang, Jesus!" And you can see them like, well, Jesus or the equivalent.
You're muted, Susie. You muted yourself.
Good job. Oh, the Aventurian equivalent of Jesus, as he stumbles back from the doorway, trying to cover his eyes. He's like, I'll just give you, oh, fuck. And 2, you see this guy like come stumbling out, and he just like sits on the steps, like wide-eyed, staring, 1,000-yard stare. He pulls out like a little hip flask, takes a stiff drink.
I immediately turn to Wolfgang. I'm like, I'm sorry, what was that? Who was that? Was that? I'm still a bit like perturbed. Right? I'm also like naked, and so I'm like, oh, what was that? Is everything okay? Should I untie you? I'm just like confused.
Wolfgang is bright red, and he's looking down. He's like, please untie me. That was my brother.
And I'm like, oh, I can see why that's awkward. So I have tied him with my. You know what? Remember I said the staff's nearby? No, the staff is what's tying him up because I can undo it and do it magically, right? That's very helpful. So I immediately untie him in like an instant, and I fetch him his clothes and help because he's wounded. So I like help him put the compresses that I was saving for later for now, and like the little bandage and things. And I'm like, oh my God, that's really awkward. Do you want me to be there when you talk to him? Do you want me not? I can break into this fortress of his intellect and see what he's thinking right now, if that makes things easier.
He's like, please don't break into his mind. I know exactly what he's thinking because he's probably thinking the same thing I'm thinking. So just give me a minute.
Okay, I'll wait in here. I mean, yeah, none of my friends are here. I can just wait here. Yeah, totally. I have my spell book. I'll read my spell book.
Can you put some clothes on?
Good
I feel like
point.
moments pass.
Good point. Yes, I'll put my clothes on.
2, you watch as Wolfgang comes out and he's wearing like a robe and he sits next to his brother, and his brother, you can tell it's like a conversation being like, dude, put a fucking sock on the handle or some shit, like give me some warning. I've seen shit I didn't want to see. They're having like this brotherly conversation.
Is the brother cute?
The brother is cute. Yeah, he's like a lumberjack. Like he's got that build going on. A little bit more rugged, a little bit more rough. He spent more time outside, clearly.
Okay, like Aragorn, sort of.
Yes. Sorry. Hello. Yes. Okay. So Tariq, as you sort of step out of this room, you can see the 2 brothers sat on the doorstep, and you can tell which one is which. But peeking out of the neck of the brother's shirt that you can see is the hint of a tattoo.
Can I tell if it's the same tattoo or not?
Looks maybe. I don't know. You'd have to do a real good check for me.
Okay, actually, I'm gonna go up and I'm gonna
Mhm.
introduce myself, you know,
Mhm.
as like I'm your brother's like dude. I'm not gonna use the word like partner or anything. I'll just be like
Mhm.
dude. And I'm gonna like try and engage him in conversation.
Mhm.
And then if we want to play the whole thing, I'm gonna try and engage him in conversation, like, hey, sorry about that. No, you know, we'll be more discreet next time. And then start asking, like, oh, what's that tattoo? Like, just like casually, like, oh, I'm into bodies. Well, I'm more into brains. Well, I'm more into minds, but whatever.
And the brother gets a bit cagey about it. He sort of like shifts up and goes, "Oh, it's nothing. It's just had it a while."
Okay. Oh, damn. But if I break into the fortress of his intellect, he'll know, and then the brother will know, and that's gonna be mean. So normally I'm like, oh, great, and I'll just break into his mind.
Mhm.
But now I'm like, no, that might be mean to. But the brother told me not to. Oh, damn, moral quandaries. This is what the guild teaches you not to worry about. But like, this is why I don't do well in my classes. So I'm gonna be like, okay. Do you mind? I turn to Wolfgang, and I'm like, can we take a walk? Like, I know it was got off. I'd like love to like chat and clear things up before I head out, because I'm gonna head out. I'm not gonna stay here the night.
Mhm.
This was awkward. I understand.
Mhm. And Wolfgang kind of like looks to his brother and he's like, "I'm gonna solve this. Don't worry." And he sort of nods and he agrees to go off on a walk with you.
And if you want to cut, that's fine, or we could quickly finish this bit. I don't imagine.
What do you want to get from him on this
Yeah,
walk?
so-
Are you just
so-
trying to like?
First thing, I'm gonna just soothe him and stuff, and tell him also apparently my colleagues are buying a new house, so we can hook up there. Don't worry about that. But then in that, I'm concerned, right? Because I'm worried about the snake cult, so I want to tell him, hey, just a thought. Do you know that tattoo? Like I'm gonna ask him about it, and then be like, I saw it connected to these people that I mentioned to you in my story, and I don't want your brother to get in trouble with the wrong people.
And Wolfgang is like, "No, he's got tons of tattoos. Like he's got, like that's it doesn't mean anything. He just likes how it looks."
Cool. If your brother is finding religion anytime soon, can you just let me know? Because I worry that there's like a secret cult in town trying to indoctrinate handsome men and their brothers.
I mean, sure, but it's just it doesn't mean it's just a tattoo. It doesn't mean anything.
And I like smile. I'm like, yeah, just keep an eye out for like religious conversion or like
Yeah.
strange people he's meeting.
Yeah, I mean, I hooked up with you, so I don't have any.
I'm not that strange. I'm an open book.
Can we introduce a post? Thanks, friend.
Yeah. Okay.
Um,
So then before I leave, I like grab him by the hair, yank his head, and like kiss him forcefully. And I'm like, to remember, and I leave a bruise on his lip. I'm like, to remember me by. Even though like I will be seeing you very soon. So yeah. Okay, good. So just to make clear, I wanted to actually inform him that make him an informant, right? Like if you hear anything weird, come back and tell me.
Yeah, okay. Roll me persuasion.
Yes. It should be pretty good at this. Skills by group.
Because I don't think you need to roll seduction on this poor boy.
I
think you've got him already.
So 14, 15, 14. So let me roll. Oh God! That was I got 2 nat 20s.
Oof.
I'm gonna not. I like this guy too much. I want to be on his good side. I'm gonna use my last hero. Oh God, I'm out of fate points.
And they refresh. I believe you get 1 back at the start of every session.
Oh great! I
What
used
was
my
reading.
last fate point to like, because I don't want to be mean to him. I want this relationship to be nice.
Oh, it's a critical watch.
Oh, so
We
I cannot. Okay.
can't.
So maybe I come off as a bit too like concerned about this, because maybe it come because this is concerning my academic life, right? Because we last time it was part of my magical lore, so I'm becoming very like, focused on that and less like nice and polite. So I'm
Mhm.
like, oh yeah, this is really important kind of thing.
I feel like maybe you get a little more intense than you expected, just because this is something that is so like important that you kind of get a little bit more, your eyes get a little bit more intensity, where the dude's kind of like, whoa, okay. And he agrees.
Yeah.
But there's something there that's like, maybe you haven't fully sold it 100%. He's still like, when you do kiss him, he's still like, attentive to it and receptive to it. He isn't immediately like, get off me, weirdo. But there's like a little thing there that he was a bit like, whoa.
Okay, so he got scared. I mean, to be fair, that's a legit reaction. Like someone a black mage comes up to you and starts talking to you about cults. Like that's.
Yeah, right? You're going to be like,
Yeah. Even if you just had sex with said black mage, right? Maybe especially if you just had sex with said black mage, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Cool. All right. So, you then see Tariq. Are you coming back to the house, or are you going back?
I like kiss him, and I'm like, see you next time. I'll see you at the shop, kind of thing. And I start walking back, not expecting to see anyone I know, right? I'm just like, walking to wherever our meeting place was going to be that night.
So, you're watching the brother sat on the step, and he's like hiding something with his shirt. Like he's really conscious. He's playing with his shirt a lot. And his brother comes back, and they start having like a little friendly, like, I don't know what dudes do, like little arm punch, like, you dickhead, you've ruined the moment. How could you do this to me? And then the brother, you see like there's a conversation, and the brother points to the other's back, and he gets really defensive about it. Like really, like literally pushes his brother away. And there's a little bit of aggression here.
Okay. Okay. I think two's plan at this point is just to continue observing these two. Tariq's used to him as past at this moment. So his plan here would just be to observe them, assuming at some point they'll go back in, or the brother who's defensive will run off to maybe go tell some friends. Either way, once they're inside, he'll either sneak over and listen at the windows to see if there's any more conversation or anything. And if one of them seems to be leaving in haste, he'll follow them to see where they're going, basically.
Yeah, so you watch these two brothers, and things like escalate. There's a little bit of a fist fight that happens here. You're not entirely sure what happened, but the brother with the tattoo swings and punches his other brother in the face, catches him in the jaw. And the blacksmith's brother is like, hands up, like backs off and heads inside. And we
can say it's Max and Wolfgang.
Max and Wolfgang. Wolfgang heads back inside, and Max outside. He is clearly very angry. You're not entirely sure what had been said. It's too far away for you to have heard. When they got fighting, they started shouting, but it was like insults. But the actual quiet stuff. And Max just starts stalking off somewhere. He's walking angrily. He's not running as if it's to be like, shit, I have to tell someone. But he's got that sort of angry, I've just had a fight, I need to cool off walk. And he's headed into town.
Following him. He is the mark at this point. That's where we're going.
All right. So just do me another sort of stealth check, and we'll just use that for your general as you're following him this whole time.
Oh, quick question. Would this spending the day and, hooking up with my dude count as a rest of 6 hours?
Sure.
Cool. It's a different kind of rest, since I was very active rest, but just checking.
Hey, you get rest of all times.
Yay.
All kinds.
Our producer is saying you were not resting, and I'm like, hey.
You lose HP.
He's the one who lost HP, you were saying.
I've got 4 points left over, so that's 2 success levels.
Or
2
quality
success levels. Quality.
Quality. Yeah, sorry, not successful levels. That's Song of Ice and Fire. Yes, so you start stalking this guy, and he is clearly moving with some purpose at this point. I'm just going to roll for him. Excuse me. Jesus. Why am I so bad at this? So he starts trying to get a little bit tricksy with how he's moving. And you don't get the feeling that he knows you're following him. It's just more of like a pattern of movement where you're trying to not be seen on like main roads all the time. He's trying to avoid where a lot of people are in the city. He's taking side streets. He's taking little alleyways. He's like hops a fence or two on the way. But before long, you find him moving towards the temple district. You can tell it is because it's lit up at all times of the day. There's big braziers, there's big like candles and shit everywhere. There's a lot of music coming from here all the time. You know, there's like ceremonies going around. You can smell like the incense and things wafting on the air from all the various temples and the shrines around.
Could we say like they're the primary god? Could we say like the different temples have like a different color candle associated?
Yeah, no, that's
with
really
it?
cool. And they've got like the big banners and standards with the emblems of their deities on, and you can hear the chanting and singing of the various members of the faiths doing their
I do
thing.
want
This,
to point out
yes,
that 2 has disadvantage unworldly, and I've put down the religion of this part of the world.
Oh.
So for him, it's all just colors and sounds, and it's like he knows their faith, but he's no idea who the fuck anyone is. It's just they sing like that, they smell like that. Cool, whatever.
Great.
that ain't my bag, but it's yours, and I respect that. At this point, Ortlieb and Gorion, you have started to make your way to said temple district. It is very busy. There's a lot of people here. There's a mixture of clergy and sort of townsfolk. There's travelers. You can see these great standards everywhere. Outside of one of the temples, you can see there is almost an honor guard at all times. And, you know, you watch them for a little bit and they rotate out, but they're always troops and they are always armored and carrying weapons stood outside the front of this temple. But you do see a big building that from the outside seems more of a like a grand stone sort of building with big steps. But it doesn't have the trappings of the other sort of temples with like the big braziers and the other religious accoutrements outside of it. This is quite plain and simple. But as you approach, you can see there is a banner bearing the sigil of Jacinda. It's green, like green silks, with a sort of silver snake embroidered on it.
What is she the goddess in charge of?
Well, is this something that your characters would know?
Oh, I'm not there, but I would be educated enough to know the basics about religion.
There is a religion skill.
I have a few ranks in the religions skill.
Oh,
I have none.
so roll me a religion skill.
Oh, I have a lot. Whoa.
Oh, you do?
I'm educated, I guess that's why.
Ooh, I did not pass that, I don't think. I think that first one puts me, well, what's the sagacity? Yeah, just barely flubbed that one.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know, there's deities that concern all sorts of areas. You're pretty sure this isn't one that deals with the dead. This isn't one that deals with justice. You know, this isn't one that deals with thievery or anything like this. This is something. This is probably one of the more like noble oriented one, like of either family or knowledge or something else like that. It's not one of the martial ones. It's not one of the dead ones.
Okay.
It's not the sun one.
Yeah. Less likely to be directly involved with any violent.
I love that
sneaky
Ortlieb's
things.
knowledge is that's one of the soft gods. Like I just
Yeah.
know that.
Mhm.
Like soft skills, right?
Yes.
Which one is the one that's got like the armed guards? Is it the one of Hasinde?
No, you can see this one. This one has it emblazoned on it, just for ease's
Okay.
sake. This is the
Gotcha.
Church of Rondra.
Oh, all right. That's the
You would probably know this one, Gorion, because it's a very martial church.
Yeah, well, and
Um,
Impericum is where their main temple is. I have that as listed as one of his 3 that he
Yeah.
belongs to.
Yeah, they deal with protection, and they particularly deal in war and combat. So they're your folks if you need to smash some faces. But they're all about like goodly stuff. You know, they're about fighting evil and all that jazz.
All that good stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
They don't
None of the
really-
main gods are considered like there are no like, oh, and this random evil god is widely worshipped. Not really, right?
No, there's not necessarily like evil gods. There are
Right.
like domains which are like not as happy and fluffy and
Right.
nice.
Right.
But if you worshipped like one of the ones that dealt with death, you're not being like, you are a bad guy because you worship the death god.
Right,
'Cause,
right.
it's one of
So
those.
we would expect any of these temples to be not weird places. They're like,
Yeah, no, like
Yeah.
they're just normal ass places.
yeah,
And some people would dedicate themselves to one god. Some people, acknowledge and observe many of them. It's not necessarily like you have to worship this god, otherwise we're gonna fucking kill you, kind of
right,
deal.
right.
It's just people know that gods exist. People know that gods have influence, and it doesn't make sense for them to exclude any of them, because why would you if you know they exist?
yeah.
They'll kick your ass. So.
Yeah,
Which is why I never understood atheists in D&D. Anyway, that's a rant for another time.
And I've been playing a lot of Hades, so like chatting with the gods has been my jam. Hey there, Zag man. Anyway.
There you go. Yeah, Gorion worships Roger when he fights, Fex when he gambles, and Raha when he fucks. So
Nice.
that's what he's got.
Love it. Gotta fucking.
But gambling and fighting is the three things he cares about. So
Nice.
that's his. So he has no prior, and he has no religion skills. So he really just, I guess, pays lip service, or he doesn't pay attention during catechism or whatever. So he's out of his depth here too. But I guess would recognize the Rondran temple. Let's head into this.
There's one for Fex as well. You see that because you know what Fex is.
Okay.
It's much smaller, not as grand, but it's probably what you expect from. But so you head up towards the Church of Asinde, and you see it's very quiet in here, and it's much more akin to a library, as the walls are covered in bookcases, just huge, massive bookcases filled with tomes and scrolls and like all that good stuff. And there's a little quiet reading nook in a corner. There's big tables in the middle set out where people can bring books to read. You can hear on the upper levels what appears to be a lecture happening. You're not entirely sure what the subject matter is, but there is clearly an academic talk happening here. It's quite a dry, quiet voice that is. But you are basically given free reign in here. There's no librarian at the desk or anything like that. There's no sort of a check-in or people waiting at the door for you. But you can see, like, milling around, there are all kinds of people here wearing robes of like a deep green color. Okay. And some of them are reading books. Some of them are talking quietly amongst themselves. There's a dude up a ladder that's like 15 foot in the air because the bookcase is just that big.
He's gonna get hurt.
It's like,
I'm nervous for him. I'll still turn to Ortlieb.
Yes.
Is this... someone told you to come here, or we?
Oh, yes. My realtor suggested that this may be similar, just based on the iconography.
Gotcha.
Maybe it'd be, and I mean, clearly they have a lot of information here. I knew it was one of the soft gods.
Oh, I just realized that my character worships Asinde, who is the patron of something that I would care about a lot. Okay.
Oh, wow.
So I'm not there, so I'm completely unhelpful, but
That's okay. Maybe.
It's like, oh, I didn't know we were coming here. This is Tariq's god.
Yeah, he has mentioned it before.
Right. Maybe we'll run into him here.
Maybe we will.
Have you ever run into me in a temple?
No, never. Well, that one time, but we don't.
Yeah, but that's because I was sleeping with one of the priests.
Right. Yeah. Do you want to split up, Ortlieb? Should we go hit the stacks? Maybe find somebody?
Let's well, I'm trying to decide myself how offensive it might be to just come out and tell them what we need help with. I'm wondering what you think of that, Grian. I'm pretty street smart, but I don't want to offend anybody. Ortlieb is street smart. Emma is not. So that's
Sure.
why I want to know.
That's all right.
What you
That's why
think?
we're role playing.
Yes.
Let's do that. I'll just keep an eye out. You talk to
Okay.
him.
I
and then
will.
I'll see if I can't suss anything out. So, yeah, because actually, Garion's not bad at like reading people. He's got a high empathy. Oddly enough, so he's usually pretty good at spotting like liars or deception.
Yes. So is Ortlieb, and Ortlieb is good at fast talk, which I'm assuming is bullshitting.
Yes. I would say so. Yeah.
Yes.
What's your
good
rank?
11.
Man,
That's,
I've only got a 6.
picked, Emma, you picked I think it sounds like you picked a few skills and put tons of points in fewer skills.
I did. Let me see. I can tell you the things I'm maxed out on: myths and legends, the law, commerce, preparing food, fast talk, persuasion, empathy, etiquette, plant lore, and singing.
Love it.
That's great. That's great.
That's it. Yep. That's what I'm good at.
Yeah,
So
fast looks like a silver tongue, quick wit,
yes.
strong arguments. Yeah.
I might come up in here and just sort of I'm going to put on, I have some little spectacles and do my best to I'm going to if I can talk to somebody, I'm going to tell them I'm looking for some academic support here. Yes.
And you come across a person in robes. They're not quite super fancy robes, nice, but they're not like top tier robes. And they say, "What can I help you with? Do you need some guidance, information about something?"
Yes, I'm doing some research. I'm doing some research on a specific thing that I came across. I'm not sure if it is directly involved with the Church of Hacinda or if I've been given some tips that you might have something that you could help me with. It might be a little controversial. I don't want to offend you, but and I'll take out. I have like a little sketch of the logo.
And this person's kind of takes it from you, and then looking at it, and then kind of do the twisty, as the
yes.
And they hand it back to you, and they say, "I'll get the praetor. They'll know."
Thank you. I appreciate it.
And they dash off, and you hear that lecture upstairs stop suddenly. The dry, quiet voice stops.
Oh no.
And
Ortlieb's uncomfortable. He interrupted the lecture.
After a couple of moments, it's that sort of just long enough for it to be awkward. It's kind of length of time for you to wait. But you see an older man come down a staircase, and he's wearing very similar green robes, but there's like very fine embroidery across them, across the collar and cuffs. And he's got like a shock of white hair, which is pulled back into like the Lucius Malfoy dealy, like, you know, the scraped all the way back, and it's like long and it looks kind of semi-greasy, but he's got little half moon spectacles. He's quite old. You can tell too, like his skin is sagging and wrinkled. And he folds his hands in front of you and he says, "Yes, you wish to speak to me?"
Yes, I'm sorry if I interrupted anything up there, but I am doing some academic research on, I believe it's called the Order of the Adder.
I'm not familiar. Please come to my office.
Okay, I will. Does he seem like he's being truthful?
There's something about it. As he says, "I'm not familiar."
Yes.
And there's like a flash of recognition in his eyes.
Okay.
And he gestures you to a really warm office. It's got like the oak furnishings. It's got the big comfy chairs. There's a fireplace. Like,
I'm gonna grab
Is there probably
Gorion by the hand.
library, right? The office probably has a private library.
Yeah, 100%. There's a globe in here for some reason. Like, he's got a little decanter. Like, it's where I would like to live.
Can we say it's a globe, but half of it's like, "Here be dragons," right? Because it's not a fully discovered world.
Yeah, it's only the bits of Aventuria that people know about and have charted. The rest of it is just like wiggle. And he kind of spins it with a finger and he says, I'd really like to chart the rest of this someday, as he comes in and he offers, gestures for you two to take a seat in the plump chairs that he has in this office.
Yes, I will. And as we do that, I'll look at the globe and I'll point out all the places. So I've been to a lot of these places already. But if I ever find anything new, I'll let you know.
Oh, please do. I mean, that is the mission of Hasinde herself, to share knowledge with one another.
Oh, wonderful. Wonderful.
Now, forgive my earlier deception. That is contrary to everything I believe in, but I couldn't utter these words in the halls.
Mm-hmm.
Within the Church of Hasinde, there are two factions. One, like ourselves, believe in the wide dissemination and sharing of knowledge. Our goddess wishes for everyone to have education, to know things, to spread the good word amongst one another. The other wishes for knowledge to be hoarded and kept hidden, used for their purposes only. Now, this has mainly been in the form of academic debate. You must understand, through our history, that's how we communicate with one another. In my day, I've had my fair share of debates, won most of them. But there are some people that you cannot simply negotiate with. And this separatist order, I fear, have taken very drastic steps. Now, I've heard of this Order of the Adder.
Yes.
A more militant branch of this offshoot of our church. Why have you come to me with their name?
Well, I suppose there's no reason to withhold anything from you. We have it on good authority that they were involved in the destruction of a village about 3 days that way.
Destruction of a village, for what purpose?
That is still unclear to us.
It's troubling.
It is. And since then, we have received some threats ourselves. So since they clearly know more about us than we do about them, we're trying to learn as much as we can.
Good. Well, perhaps you could join our ranks. You seemed very keen to learn. He's like giving the hard sell. He's like, we can...
No, I'm good. I'm good there. 100% good. This is the second time today Ortlieb's had to defend himself from spiritual, yes.
I love this.
Spiritual usurpation. No, Ortlieb is not into all that. Himself, he's committed to capitalism, and that's all the religion he needs.
They did. There was mention of tribute.
Tribute.
What?
Village. You might not have been around when and Garains realizes that he's walked into something that he might be a TMI situation. He's like, well, remember the figure that came while we were helping out the villagers?
Yes.
Demanded tribute. Asked if we had brought it any before snakes showed up.
Yes, that is true. We do not know what that means.
Looking at the priest, like, does that
Yeah.
sound familiar?
The praetor is like, he's very clearly on his face. He has no idea what this could be. As you could probably tell by looking around in this temple, that it's like a library. Like, there's no sort of sacrificial altar or anything like that. There's no... the only tribute that he could probably think of is someone bringing new books or a bit of new information, something,
I got the impression they were people. The tributes were people.
Yeah.
That is most troubling indeed. Most troubling indeed. I don't know to what purpose they would want that for.
Is he on the up and up with us?
Yeah, does he seem like he's being truthful?
Oh, let's have a look.
So I have a specialty in discern motivations, but not sense deception. I mean, I've got a high empathy within a specialty, and it's how he does so good at gambling.
Yeah. Let's
Nice.
roll those bones. Let's see what you
So,
got.
All right, let's see what we got. Where is his social? So empathy is sagacity and charisma. Let's see what we got. Oh, let's see. Okay, here we go. My intuition is 15, so that second 15, because the 20 blows well past is 9. I might not have enough to bring it below. We'll see. But the 15 hits the intuition, and then 4 is underneath his charisma. So 20, I've got 8 points. It's not gonna be enough.
Okay.
He fails.
So you're trying to scrutinize this guy as he's walking around, and because he's kind of doing the pacing thing, right? He's doing like the academics, like dealy as he's trying to think. You can't read whether or not that he's been deceptive or not. He's not giving you any reason to think that he is being deceptive. You know, there's no sort of like shifty looks or like LA Noir-esque facial tics where his eyebrows are like going crazy. He just seems to be very calm. Like he's receiving this knowledge, this information, and just like processing it in a really calm manner. He's not like immediately freaking out. He's just like, I see. And being very contemplative as he is absorbing what you're telling him.
The calmness seems weird. Like you think he'd be freaked out about this
being told that
escalating
there might
schism.
be like a violent sect in his city.
Yeah. But all right, well, I guess if not something you know about, it's not something you know about. You mind if we take a look around?
Please go right ahead. And if you should need to speak to any of my novices or anything like that, please do so.
Yes.
Thank
If you do find any information, you can leave a message with he's got like I think we established earlier, he's got like a street vendor who sells sausages who he's tight with.
Nice.
Just like leave a message with Fritz.
He's like, oh, I know Fritz. I love his bratwurst.
I know.
We
It's
also
amazing.
have an address now, right? Or at least.
We do, but don't we want to weren't we moving to be somewhat
Oh, okay. Yeah. Secret. Yeah, good point.
somewhat? I need to get like a P.O. box. I should
That would
already have
be-
one. I'm a merchant.
Classic
You're keeping the
adventurers.
address secret. Tariq's already given it away to his fuck buddy who's
Oh,
brother's
yeah, I did.
a cult
I
member.
did.
But
Did.
Secret
Did.
is,
I just
an
know mostly it's
aspirational-
just I need a work-life separation.
You have your business address. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
that's my business address is with the sausage man.
Excellent.
Yes.
Excellent.
Yeah, we really got to get the dark eye out of context quotes going on
It's a sausage man.
because there's
Yes.
some gold in here.
Yes. Sausage man, his tagline has to be "Es ist Wurst für mich," which I understand is a German idiom, which means this doesn't mean not very much to me. So there you go. It's hilarious. I think it's great.
Yeah, that's a good joke, Emma.
Thank you.
Are you any good at academic? Is Ortlieb any good at academic research? What I don't know what merchants get up to. I don't know what kind of.
I'm pretty good
training,
at
if any.
math. Like I have knowledge skills. I'm trained in most knowledge skills except for warfare, astronomy, and sphere lore.
Okay.
So like I would assume that means that I'm fairly educated.
I was thinking that maybe we could go do some research into like whatever serpent legends or
Yeah,
whatever there might
Myths
be.
and
As
legends,
long
that's
as-
my
yeah.
jam. It helps me, and this will help me think of new songs to sing anyway. So
The only knowledge
what I
skills
do.
that Gorion is good in is gambling and war. So that's it. He's like a frisbee. He's that deep, So, but I can look up books. I can read. Let's go hit the stacks, Ortlieb.
great.
All right. So you hit the stacks, and the praetor, who you find out in this church, is called the High Tutor, not the praetor, because Susie can't read. He has arranged for you to have your own novices who are called scholars here to just bring you whatever you need. because he seems, he says to you that he's extremely very keen on helping bring down this order, right? Because they go against everything he believes in. So he is going to give you all the assistance he can in his domain, which is this temple. So you've got like little nerds running around grabbing whatever you need for you. They bring you
Awesome.
stacks of books, they bring you drinks, they bring you whatever.
Oh my, that's wonderful.
You just post up on a table.
You know what? I think it's time for some silver in the donation box.
Yes,
You know,
most definitely. I will also provide them snacks as well because it's
Snack
hard work.
exchange.
Yeah, a snack exchange. Liam and I have had a snack exchange.
It was
wonderful.
very good. It
In
was
real life.
Dope. I'm
We did
still
that.
drinking the Kool-Aid. It's dope.
I still have the tomato sauce.
There you go.
And the apricot sauce.
Wait,
And the
you mailed each other different snacks?
Yes, we
Yeah,
did.
yeah.
Big
Oh, yeah.
boxes.
Giant box
Yeah.
of snacks.
It was great.
It was really
That's like a
Brain
really
waves.
fun friend thing to do. Like, yeah.
It is. Anybody out there, we don't have to be friends. If you're Germans, let's do it.
Hey, yeah.
yeah. It's, yeah,
Germany has
non-American
a little
snacks is what it's
Haribo.
at.
I'm down for some of that. Send it over.
Yes. Yes, please.
I'm about to be the coffee crisp hookup of all my friends because you don't get that in the UK.
I've never
Thank you.
tried that.
I got
wanna
you.
try it.
I got you.
Nice.
Okay, so anyway, now I'm really hungry.
Right.
Garayan and Ortlieb are posted up in the temple. They got books around them, they got food, they got servants, they got, nerds all around. It's great. 2, you are following this person. And they are ducking and weaving their way through, and you see them come to the temple district, and you can see all the bright colors, all the sounds, all the smells. And you see this guy as he sort of heads towards this one with the green banner and the silver snake, but he kind of like walks off to the side and heads into a side entrance.
Oh, well, I want to observe him entering their side entrance. Is there
Mhm.
some sort of like special handshake or I
Yeah,
don't know why I'm
he's
doing a
so-
door knocking
yeah.
motion? A special door knock?
Yeah, there's a pattern that he does. So if you can get me a perception check, you'll be able to pick up that pattern.
This whole session's just been rolling my 2 highest stats. I'm loving it. Yeah, that there is 3 quality levels.
Okay, so you watch. There's a certain rhythm to it that he does, like a very specific pattern. And he waits a moment, and you see the flash of light across his face as the door is opened, and he ducks inside very quickly.
Okay, so this is a side entrance to the same big
Mhm.
temple, right? Okay. Is there any obvious, like near the side entrance, is there any obvious windows or anything like that nearby? Is there any way to observe inside?
No, unfortunately not. This is like solid wall with just like a little side door. It looks like this is like through one of the like like a kitchen door, kitchen side door, or like like in old mansions there's like a servant's door that no one's supposed to see where they take out the trash and stuff like that. This is like a little service door basically.
Okay. Oh, okay. I'm torn. I have to decide between 2 being ballsy and just going up and knocking on the door and seeing what happens,
Mhm.
or waiting for this fella to leave and then basically jumping him in an alley and being like, what the fuck was that? So I don't know. I'm gonna have a quick look at his advantages and disadvantages. See if there's anything that makes me want to do it. I do have to uphold my mana, but that doesn't necessarily mean being suicidal. Fuck it. Now he's unwieldy. I don't understand imperial culture, nor do I understand local religions. So I'm gonna assume if you know the secret handshake, you can probably get in. So I'm just gonna go up and do the secret handshake. Fuck it. No, not the
Okay.
handshake. Keep calling it a handshake. The door knock.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
yeah.
go
So
do the door knock.
you go up, you do the secret door knock, and you wait a couple of seconds. You see the door open, and it is someone wearing a green robe that is quite finely made. It's very beautifully made, a lovely deep emerald sort of color. And they look at you, you look at them, they look at you, tilt the head a little bit. Do I know you?
2 sort of shrugs. I don't know. Do you?
I don't think I do know you.
Like, Two's heavily tattooed face.
Yeah, yeah.
So there's no like he's like, well, that's strange. Yeah, I thought the sort of points like.
I mean, yeah, I feel like I would recognize you.
I
How did
thought you
you-
would too.
Yeah.
Mm.
How did you do the?
I took my knuckle and I.
Two gets a very blank face back. That's a very funny joke.
Two's like, well, you gonna let me in or?
And they look at you. They look you up and down. And hang on. See how stupid they are. Okay, hang on.
DM plot words.
They look you up and down and they say, well, you don't look like us, but you know the knock. And they just like tilt their head back. Come in. And they shut the
Okay.
door behind you.
Two very
Ooh.
stupidly goes inside.
To be fair, you all three are in the same building now. That's gotta be helpful, right?
Two's not a quiet guy when it goes wrong. So hopefully people will hear it if it goes horribly wrong. Okay, yeah. What do I see? I'm in here now. What do I
Okay,
see?
so you step inside and it's much like it looks from the outside. This is like more utilitarian access place. You can see like there is the fantasy equivalent of like bin juice from the garbage from the across the floor, where this has clearly been used to take out trash. It doesn't smell great in here. Jim is smelling the smell, I can tell. And he leads you through some like corridors that are fairly linear. There isn't much in the way of offshoots. When there is, they end in small rooms, and you can see like this is where like Hessian sacks are being stored or crates and stuff, like that kind of deal. But he leads you to a staircase, and you can see stairs going up and then stairs going down. And he takes you to the stairs going down.
Okay.
You can feel it getting colder in here, as if you're heading below ground into a sort of basement kind of deal.
Okay.
And it is getting it's damper in here too, because this is swamp territory. So this is like really moist, damp,
Yes.
and you can feel it on your breath too. When you're breathing, the air is more moist in here. But this is like again a very utilitarian sort of cellar with stuff that's just been stored down here. There's in fact like even old manuscripts and stuff that are just kind of like rotting in one corner. But you notice there's not any other people here, and it's very strange, as there had just been Max, the lumberjack brother that had followed not long after you. But you are in what appears to just be a singular room, and the person that guided you in is kind of, you can see them scanning the walls for a minute, and then they look across, and then they find one brick, which is kind of like slightly different. If this was a Scooby-Doo cartoon, it would be the only thing that's popping out of the scenery that isn't painted. And he runs his hand across it and pushes lightly. And as he does, near your feet, in fact, too, you can feel the earth start to rumble as a trapdoor sort of pulls back, and you see yet another staircase heading down.
Okay. And is this fella coming?
Yeah. He's
right.
coming. Yeah.
I'll let him go slightly ahead of me, just in case
Okay.
he tries to play any silly games.
Yeah. And because this is fantasy, he's pulled like a wooden torch out of nowhere and he's lit. So we've got that peak sort of like
He
the
could have
Phantom
done
leading
either cleric,
Christine.
right? He could have done some clerical.
Yeah. There's a bit of fire going on as this is peak, the Phantom leading Christine down into his dungeon lair.
Oh, love it.
And again, it's very quiet, but now you can hear talking, multiple people talking. And you can hear, again, what sounds to be a almost like a lecture, and much like Grian and Ortley had heard, of people talking in here and disseminating information. But before long, you're brought into what is clearly an underground sort of den, a hideout. And there are a bunch of people, and they are wearing green robes, but they're not the bright emerald green of upstairs that you had seen. They are in like a much darker hue, and they are not as not quite as beautiful as well made as the ones that the guy that led you in here is wearing. And as he gets down here, you see him take that one off and put on a darker one. And he turns to you and says, "What's your name?"
So would just say Kiowa.
Which is not your name, right?
It's my last name.
Okay.
But I'm banking on these guys not having a fucking clue. So, and it's true enough. I could probably say it confidently.
Yeah.
Kiowa.
He says, "All right then, brother, follow me."
He doesn't even try.
No, he doesn't even
Brother.
try. He does that fucking, like, that ultimate white person thing, right? Where you tell them that your name 6 times and they just blank. And he leads you into a meeting hall with these people. And he whispers quietly to a few of them, and you can hear him say, "We've got a new initiate."
Ooh.
I'm joining the cult.
I love it.
Here we
This
go.
is so interesting.
What could
Episode
fucking go
3, the one where 2 joins a cult.
Hey, we each have our things, right? I just had S&M. 2 is having a cult, you know. The other 2 are being nerdy and studying.
I'm a
Ortley
homeowner.
bought a house. Ryan's probably going to run a casino or something. Like, we've all got it. So people, as this information gets spreads, it starts very quickly. You know, that kind of thing where you go into a pub and if you're not a local, everyone goes and looks at you. That's kind of what happens in here, because they're all very similarly dressed. I mean, you can tell they're people from all over. There's a huge variety in skin tone and gender here. You know, it's not just a sea of copy and paste cultists. As much as I may treat them stat-wise, but there's a huge diversity in people here, age ranges too, and
How many people are there?
there are at least 30 people in this room that you can tell of. And things go very quiet, and then all of a sudden things start getting brought out. Candles start being brought out, and a table is cleared, and a large tome is placed in the center and surrounded by candles. And you can see the page that it's turned to is blank. And they separate and sort of create an aisle for you to walk down towards this table.
Okay, I've gotten much more balls deep in this than I planned to. Okay. I guess I'm going down the aisle.
Congratulations.
Oh no.
It's very, very quiet as you walk. But you are met at the end of the table. A woman steps out, and she has sort of light tan skin and a reddish brown hair. As she stands in front, she spreads her hands across the pages, and she says, "Welcome, initiate."
Kia ora.
You, to join our order, must give us knowledge. Something secret, something forbidden, something only you know.
Okay.
And then she hands you a quill and gestures at the book in front of you.
Okay. I don't know if 2 can write. I mean, I do have multiple languages learned. I don't know if that means you can write.
I mean, if you have native level, but that doesn't mean a lot of people have native level without knowing how to write. Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, I think you have to purchase literacy which I would assume is writing
Okay.
separately.
And what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw Two's whakapapa, which is his family, his extended family, his tree. But what I'm going to draw it is it's actually the same pattern as what's on Two's face, or very similar to it.
Oh.
So he's going to draw his tribal designs over it, which to him, because I'm basing this on my own culture, we didn't have a written language. The closest thing we had was our art. So I'm just doing that, which to him is a meaningful response to these guys. I don't know if it's any good or not, but
I mean, there seems to be like a quiet admiration as you're doing this. This is knowledge. This is something they haven't seen before. And the woman stood behind the book over you as you're doing it. She is completely enraptured in what you're doing. She's watching the movements, and everything is silent as you're doing it. But you can sense that on the air, you know, they have questions. They want to know more about it. But they are giving you that due deference to give them this knowledge in silence and you know, giving it that reverence. Once you place the quill down, she says, "Give me your hand."
okay. I'm going to give him my left hand because I'm assuming Two's right-handed. And I might need my right one. So.
Yeah, I mean, it's a cult, right? So you know what's coming. A dagger is produced, your palm is slit, and there is a bowl that's pressed underneath it, and she squeezes your hand to get those blood drops out. Even though that's such a bad place to get blood from, just don't bother, people. And you see them mix in a sort of wax and a sort of putty almost, and they mix it together. And a seal is made and pressed onto the book.
They have sealed your family name in blood into their book.
What could possibly go wrong?
Fine, don't worry about it. It's great.
Yeah.
Love it. I just told them my name, okay?
Look, you know,
I didn't seal my family lineage into their book with blood.
there you go. You sometimes just gotta fucking throw it out there and see what happens.
Like, you gotta hit that big red stupid button, right?
I love how the three people who know the least about religion and the one person who knows the most about religion is like completely elsewhere. I have 7 points in religion, guys.
The majority of what I gave them is dead ancestors, but you know, we worship them, so that's, you know, we'll see.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
The show's gonna be okay.
Yeah.
So there is a moment where there is after the information is sealed, there is applause from everyone around you, and they cheer, and they all start chanting welcome brother," in like a really creepy culty way, because I mean, come on, you're in an underground cave, and you are presented with these dark green robes. And the woman says to you, "You will earn your mark."
Okay.
We all bear the mark.
Two's quietly thinking, I don't know where it's going to go. I'm a bit covered. But yeah.
Oh,
He doesn't say
lol. I didn't even think of that. Is there room for this enormous tattoo?
This is the loophole. This is the loophole. I can't do it. I've got to.
Sorry. Too late. No, that's cool.
So you have these robes draped across your shoulders, and they take care not to disturb the stuff you've got on already, because you wear that the feathered cloak, right? So they drape it right over the top of it. And she says things to you. Like, there's a lot of like spooky cult talk. But then, you know, she says, "You will earn your mark. We will be in touch shortly with your instructions."
Well, at least now we know a way to get in touch with them easily. One of us is a member now.
Infiltration.
It's like, nah, Mihi, you're not, you know, and he's like, I look forward to earning that mark. And he sort of looks around the room for anyone he recognizes.
Is Max there?
Max is there, and he was one of the ones that was chanting. You can see here a couple of just random faces that you had seen in the street. You also do notice that the definitely not Dick Van Dyke chimney sweep that Ortlieb had performed with is among this number.
Oh. Wait, is Gemma there? That's a big question.
She is not.
Okay.
Okay. Cool. Cool.
And
okay.
a dinner, like food, is produced out of nowhere, like dried meats and things and cheeses, like as a celebration.
It's all coming up too. It's all coming up too. I got new friends who's been more welcoming than any of you motherfuckers, and they've fed me. You know,
That's how they get you, man. That's how they get their hooks into you.
I deepened my friendship with one person. So.
So it's a celebration of the new member. They bring out food, and it's like pretty decent food. Like it's not fresh, you know. They haven't like cooked a chicken in the back or anything, but it's like a fairly good spread. You know, it's a nice little buffet, little finger food going on. And you are received quite warmly by these cult members who just apparently just let people walk in off the street and join their member if they know a knock. But we're going to cut away from two having a nice little I just joined a cult party to Tariq. Where were you headed after your encounter?
We said we were supposed to meet back at the inn where we were staying and then go from there. So I'm probably sitting there with Fariha being like, where the hell are the others? Like, what is going on?
Yeah, and she's like, tell me about it. Do you know how heavy everyone's belongings were? I've been carting them backwards and forward to that new house all day.
Like, oh, didn't Ortlieb hire a mover?
He did, but he was absolutely useless.
And we're talking rapidly into the media, right?
Oh, yeah.
We're countrymen, right? Country folk.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I don't know. But of course, it's getting a little later because those two are deep in their studies. They've forgotten. This guy is like in a cult. So I'm like, oh, maybe I should go look for them.
Well, I mean, where would you even start, right? I mean, Havana's a pretty big city. It's not like a little town where you can just walk across in an hour.
Yes. What about did anyone leave? I called the innkeeper. I'm like, did Ortlieb leave a message, like a new address or anything?
And then Fariha's like, I know where the new house is. We can just go there.
Oh, right. Yes.
I mean,
maybe they're the new house and they're doing something. Let's check there first.
Okay. And as you do so, she picks up like one last box of belongings. And I would like you to roll me.
I clearly have made no effort to carry any of my own belongings.
Yeah, of course. I would like you to roll me, if you will, a perception check.
Nice. Okay, so that's physical. Perception is 15, 12, 12. So... Nope.
Okay. So you hear her mutter something under her breath, but you can't figure out what she says. Okay,
cool. I probably don't even hear. Whatever. If I don't, I'm like, whatever. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. If we're heading there, so I have last time I did magical lore and stuff and learned a bit about the cult through that, right? So I would be at this point be thinking about that, and would I be able to be like, wait a minute, I didn't even think of this, but that symbol is actually really close to the symbol of Hesinde.
Yeah, I mean it's not too far of a leap, right? Like you know Hesinde.
Hesinde is the patron of magic and knowledge, and so while the guild doesn't worship Hesinde as like a practice, like it is there's a daily acknowledgement of Hesinde as the goddess of magic, right? So I would know the symbol. So I'd be asking her. By the way, I mean you're in this group. Are they related to the Church of Hesinde?
Oh yes, I mean. Hesinde is, she's all over Aventuria. It's about knowledge and whatever she does.
Do you think there must be a shrine or something in the city to Hesinde? Why would there not be? They might have leads, like information that we could use to hunt your cult down.
Oh, I mean, yeah, I was planning on going there before I got, kidnapped by an ogre.
That makes sense. That tends to put a wrench in plans. I myself got distracted by some very fine scents recently. So yeah. So my plan is I just relate to we should go to the house And if they're not there, they might be doing their own thing. Maybe we should check out a local Hesinde, because I'm not going to not do any sleuthing tonight, right?
Of course.
And I told Wolfgang the address if he wants to drop a message. I'm just like, oh yeah, he's gonna handle that. I'm used to people handling things, so I'm just like, oh yeah, he's gonna get me information I need. Of course, it's gonna come to me. Why would it not?
Yeah, and she gives you like some gentle ribbing about Wolfgang. She's like, "Oh, is this like you have a little bit of banter, right?" Because we
like banter about how like, oh yeah, white boys can totally take it. Don't worry.
You had this like banter back and forth as you make your way across to the temple district, and you come in and you see, with a pile of books and stuff around them, Ortlieb and Gorion.
Okay, so we went to the house. It was empty, and then we went.
Yeah, the house is empty.
Perfect.
So then, next logical leap. Let's screw it.
So the quick thing, like I would go up and I'm like, oh, I'm interested in research, and they're like, oh, here's our library, and then I walk in the library with Fariha, and I see Ortlieb and I'm like, oh, there you are. I got so worried. You didn't leave a message with the innkeeper.
Worried? No. Well, I mean, you're Fariha. She was helping, or rather, she was directing the movers. I hope you weren't actually doing that much work.
No. I was just not worried, but you didn't show up to our scheduled dinner meeting to discuss the next steps. It seems like you're not really into your research.
It's like really hard to tell the time in here. There's no windows.
Also
there's
true.
Books. Yeah. They bring you drinks.
Like, okay, have you learned anything? Because I have a lead, and I tell them about like the brother, and I say I have asked Wolfgang to keep tabs on his brother, and of course I was very successful in doing that. Why would I not be? Wolfgang likes me, and which is true, right?
Yes.
But yeah, he's gonna keep tabs, and I think that's gonna be a good lead for us. But I thought this would be a good idea coming here. You all know that Hesinde is all about serpents, right? Of course, you knew that. So
yes, yes.
We did.
We've learned a lot.
Have we actually determined whether we've learned anything at all?
So no, we hadn't done the rolls yet. So if you want to do me myths and legends or religions.
All right, myths and legends.
I'm gonna turn a light on in my room.
Ooh. So let me see. Myths.
I have nothing to offer you.
I keep wanting to make an REM reference, but that's maps and legends and not myths and legends. That's completely
lol.
Right. Yay. We're over 30.
Hey, cat.
Let's see. So I got it. I have 6 points left. So is that 2?
Yes, that would be 2.
Yeah.
Quality levels. Okay, so you've been poring over these tomes and stuff like that, and you found a lot about, Hesinde is about enlightenment, about spreading knowledge and information, about gathering knowledge and information, using that for the betterment of people. But you know that in ancient times, knowledge and the acquisition and having a lot of knowledge was not necessarily always a good thing. People are always a little bit wary of someone who knows or wants to know a lot.
Knowledge is power.
Knowledge is power. And there had been historical incidences of people using vast amounts of knowledge to swindle people, leverage things like, city-states have crumbled because they had it, taken out from underneath them. But there's one particular myth that you come across, and it's very similar to other sort of creation-ish myths. But in this myth, there is a great serpent that dwells deep within somewhere. You're not entirely sure where. It's lost somewhere in translation. This has been translated and retranslated a million times from word of mouth too. And it's rumored that this great serpent is ultimately going to devour the world.
Oh, so do you show me this myth that you uncovered?
Yeah.
Would I know anything about that with my religious knowledge or planes, spheres knowledge or anything?
Yeah, I mean it's very similar to what you gather from them, this great serpent, but you would also know that there are or were in this myth people trying to appease this great serpent with anything they could get, whether that's knowledge, whether that's magic, whether that's tributes.
Nice. So I point to that and I'm like, wait a minute. And I turn to Gorion especially, and I'm like, they were asking for tributes, weren't they?
Yeah.
And so
Yeah,
I point at Ortlieb. I'm like, Ortlieb, this could be made. You could be onto something. Well done. I say very condescendingly.
Ortlieb gets genuinely proud of himself. He says, "Thank you."
Yeah, because I'm gonna say the Black Mage Guild professors are very condescending, right, and very strict and stuff. So that's how I know teaching is done, right? So I'm like, well done, wow, you figured this out all on your own. That's how I think teaching is. And I'm like, so this cult could be. And I turned to Fariha. Fariha, does this ring a bell? Could this be about summoning or appeasing this great serpent monster?
I mean, perhaps. I mean, part of the missions they gave me beyond the odd assassination here and there, was to gather things, steal things, artifacts, books, things like that.
And you said
wanted me to
they've been
steal.
wanting weirder stuff recently.
Yes, the request had only gotten more and more strange, and when they asked for the eradication of my entire family, well, then I had to take a stand.
So I'm like, could it be possible, and I'm just throwing this out here, that this I'm telling everyone, right, that the branch of the cult has found something to do with the snake and are trying, like, if their demands have suddenly changed, that means something has shifted, right? Could they have found a way to tap into this snake, or even from the snake itself or something?
It seems plausible. The high priest, he said that recently this schism had escalated. At least that's what I took away from it. Could be related to that.
Where's two, by the way? I thought he was with you, Gorion.
I thought he was with you.
Yeah.
How did he with me? I was on a date. I mean, Wolfgang is not into threesomes yet. We're gonna broach that subject later.
Well, I wish you luck with that. You're usually good at persuading people, so I hope.
I mean, I'm not gonna break into the fortress of his intellect. I'm gonna actually ask him.
Oh,
Take a drink, everyone.
shit! This guy must be really special, huh?
And I'm like, he's actually really nice. I could tell when he was wearing that sandalwood perfume that this was a keeper.
I'm happy for you, Tariq.
I like beam, because remember, I do not remember my first kiss. That memory was wrenched away from me as punishment at the guild, right? And as well as random holes in my memory. I don't remember what my youngest uncle, who is now dead, looks like.
Takes so much from you.
Yeah, but I can do a lot of other cool things. I turn my staff into a rope, and I'm like, wee. I imagine that scene actually happened in our travels. Like, they take so much. I'm like, yeah, but I can do this now.
Oh my god. Okay, so as Tariq extols the virtues of losing everything but gaining the ability to do cool staff tricks, I think that is a great place to leave it for this session. To leave that, the novices are gathered around, being like, is this okay?
One cool thing is the novices would recognize me as a guild mage. It's not just like I'm scared of you, but like, oh, you are someone who follows our god.
Yeah, and there's like a level of respect there, right? Because you're clearly someone who is trained and is knowledgeable. So they're kind of like, I see you, I see what you're doing. I don't want any part of it, but I recognize that you worked hard for that. But thank you all so much once again for joining us for the WebDM Plays The Dark Eye. This has been a great session. Cannot wait for the next one. Let's just go around really quickly, say who we are, where you can find us, and then we will say goodnight. So I will go clockwise from my face, which brings us to Liam. Hello, Liam.
Kia ora. Yeah. Well, where you can find me, tabletop.com and Mudblood Podcast. There you go. That's all you need. But look up these other people anyway. They're more interesting than me for the most part. And make sure you come back here next week, and we'll see how 2 goes joining his cult. What could possibly go wrong?
Yeah, it's gonna be fine. Thank you so much, Liam, and please do check him out. Emma.
Hi, I'm Emma. I'm a fantasy homeowner. That's where you can find me, in the home that I that I have in my mind now. I am what's my title now? I'm the communications director and the CEO and president of WebDM.
Ooh.
And yes, and find us on WebDM. That's it. I'm done. Oh no, wait, no. If you like the show, you like what we're doing with actual plays, we very recently started up a brand new Patreon just for what we do on WebDM Plays to compensate all of our players as much as we possibly can and make these things pay for themselves, because it's not always easy to do that. So if you want to, you have lots of great opportunities to talk to us, get on our Discord, learn a lot more about the show and our characters and stuff. That's on patreon.com/webdmplays. Check it out. Thank you.
Thank you. And Sharang.
So I'm Sharang Biswas. You can find me on Twitter at Sharang Biswas. Sorry. And I want to echo that. Do look into the Patreon if that's interesting to you, because they are paying independent game designers and players and performers, and that's, I think, a really noble thing. And also check out Honey and Hot Wax, which by the time this is released may or may not have won an Indicate Award, which is exciting because that's happening next week in our time zone timeline right now. Who knows when the episode's out? And also check out my upcoming Kickstarter, Strange Lust, Strange Love, an anthology of erotic interactive fiction. You can follow it right now. So,
Thank you very much, Jim.
Hey, everybody. I am Jim Davis, the co-host, and I guess now that we're listing our titles, creative director of WebDM. So, yeah, I'm on everything WebDM's on. You've probably heard my voice or seen my face till you're sick of it, and that's where I'm at. Yeah, you can check me out. I'm on Twitter sometimes if I feel like digging into it and you know, having a moral bath afterwards, but otherwise I am here playing with these awesome people in this great game, and yeah, that's where I'm at.
Awesome. And I'm Susie. I am a variety streamer. I do video games, I do art streams, I do tabletop RPGs. Most of the time you can find me being a French school teacher in the Wild West on my channel, or you can find me playing Game of Thrones with my friends on Encounter Roleplay and follow Black Cats. But when I'm not doing that, I am the media and marketing coordinator of Black Cats Gaming, and we've just released the Spy game, which is a 5e powered game of international espionage and action. It's currently available on our site, which is blackcatsgamingshop.com, or on Drive-Thru RPG. So please do check those out because it's really good. And I did art for it too, and I'm really proud of it. But thank you all again so much for watching us today. And we will catch you next week for more The Dark Eye.